Welcome back. The Ghana National Association of Teachers, GNAT, is urging government to, as a matter of urgency, review the funding for the free senior high school policy. After it emerged, the state spent some funds to this for feeding and other administrative processes. Of course, for us to understand what's happening, there's more in the following report for you.
Let's open up the system. Let it not be said that, well, look, today, if you go to all the schools, the parents will tell you, free SHS. That is the rendition.
All right. Let me just do this, because when I move on to other guests, I want them to address the entire spectrum from primary to tertiary and vocational. So I'll let you have that final take. You had wanted to talk about teacher training colleges as well. You can look at the tertiary system altogether. Of course, recently we heard about the licensure or licentiate exams and the failure rates and the reassessment and all of that. What is your take about the tertiary educational level in Ghana? Are we preparing students for the work market, or are we still doing rote learning?
Yes,
So please make that brief so I can move on to my other guests.
Yeah, I have difficulty regarding the pass rate and all those things that were put out there. Yet we are interrogating it, and we are going to engage the very institution that put out that particular figure, because it looks like people are using it to justify other things that do not sit well, particularly with the teacher unions. But that is just by the way. Let me get back to the substantive issue. Look, regarding the issue of our brothers and sisters who are in the colleges of education, which is now a satellite campuses of the various, now a tertiary institution of the various satellites, the universities. Before the implementation of this particular policy, many things were taken into consideration. It was provided for in the budget. Discussions were done on it. Then suddenly, we just saw a letter on social media from the Ghana Education Tertiary Commission talking about the issue of the quota system. But they came back to deny that it is not the quota system, giving all kinds of reasons. You see, when you are implementing policies, particularly policy like this, which is an issue that borders on teacher education, it would have been better for some kind of engagement to be done. Carry the people along. Nothing like that was done. You suddenly see the thing on social media. Then the question is, people begin to ask questions. People begin to throw out things out there. We think that the approach of reviewing this particular policy was not the best. And I repeat, it's not the best. We don't go that particular way. And something ought to be done. The same thing is happening at the university level. Why are the NUCs complaining? Why is NUCs complaining at this particular time? It is because if Parliament has passed a law and the university feels that they need to do something about it, it could have been better to engage the students, engage other stakeholders to get it done. It is this lack of social dialogue, this social engagement that is creating more problems for us. And we believe that the managers of our various institutions should learn from this.
Right.
That you cannot do things, take it up and believe that the people who are working with you will just take it hook, line, and sinker. It doesn't work that way.
Demand from the Ghana National Association of Teachers. I want to bring in now Deputy Spokesperson of the Ghana Education Service, Yao Opoku Bensa, and also Dr. Peter Anti, Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies. Doc, let me start off with you on the issue about the funding. 5 Ghana cedis is the revelation we're getting, but should this be of concern to us, particularly knowing that the policy has been running for a number of years now? I mean, it's as though everything is going on well.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to you, and Happy New Year. Yeah, free SHS, would it ever go? I think that, let me make this point first. Any kind of investment that we do in education is very, very important, because at the end of the day, economies are transformed through the education sector or the education system. So we push money into the education system, we developed the human capacity, human capital base of the country. And then at the end of the day, they contribute to the growth of that particular economy. So every kind of investment, money, expenditure, whatever it is that we push in the education sector is important. And if it's possible, we should encourage government to do more for the sector. That being said, we have to look at how we continuously fund these policies. And I think that we have said this over and over again. Now, let me make this point here. If you look at the funding structure of the free SHS, you will realize that 100% money is coming from government, and that is why we're calling it the free senior high school. Now, out of the 100% money coming from government, and a certain percentage is coming from the government of Ghana and revenue that it collects, and then another percentage comes from what we call the ABFA, which is the abbreviation for annual budget funding account, and that is from the oil revenue. Now, if you have looked at the composition of the percentages that are coming from both the ABFA and then the GOG, you would see that it portrays an interesting trend that everybody should be interested in. In 2017, 52% of the money that we used to finance the free SHS came from the ABFA. 2018, it dropped to 40.1. 2019, it moved to 42.8. 2020, it moved to 53.4. 2021, it dropped to 38.7. 2022, it was 40.5. These are the percentages or the percentage contribution of the ABFA to the funding of the free SHS. Guess what? In 2023, 100% of the funding for free SHS is coming from ABFA. What this means is that in 2023, Government of Ghana revenue is not going to support free senior high school. You will know why. We know that we are going through crisis and Government of Ghana is not having enough resources. Now, what this means is that the free SHS policy does not have a sustainable source of funding. We cannot also say for sure that we are going to have the oil revenue coming into the system or like forever. So sustainability of such a good policy that is bridging the gap of gender parity at the senior high school level, that is allowing people who hitherto will not have had access to secondary education to have access to secondary education, that is helping students to enroll, to go to school and other things. Such a brilliant policy is facing sustainability issues because in 2023, this year, if something happens to the oil revenue, we are going to have serious problems with funding free SHS.
So what's your solution then? What's your proposition now?
And that is why everybody, with the exception of the ministry and then the president and the government, is saying that look again at how you are funding the policy. And how do you look again at how you are funding the policy? So we know that government is funding the policy 100%. Can we now look at a situation whereby there is another source of funding for the policy aside the ones that are coming from the government? And that is where the parents and then the voluntary contributions we are talking about comes in. So we can have a funding system where maybe 60% is coming from government, both the ABFA and the Government of Ghana revenue, and then 40 is coming from parents or a voluntary contributing or any funding mechanism that can be put in place, so that when government is not getting the enough money to support the secondary education, that source, that second source or that secondary source will support and then give the kind of assistance that we need in our education system. And if anybody suggests this and anybody thinks that that is not the way to go, then I don't think the person really wants.
Okay, let's try and get some official response on this. Dr. Antiche, just hold on for us briefly. I want to bring in now Yao Pokumentas with the Ghana Education Service. And Yao, a lot of demand now. I guess the pressure is unbearable for you at the GS and both the Ministry of Education. The call has been consistent that government must look at alternative funding to the free senior high school program. Why is it taking you so long for you to act, and knowing that now GNAT is equally coming up strongly on that?
Okay, let me say a good evening to yourself and to our lovely viewers. and to my senior colleague, Auntie, and to my Ebola Association leaders. It's not a pressure which is mounting on us. It's a good conversation that we are all speaking about what is happening within the education field, and I think it's a feedback that we take positively, and we want to encourage the good people of Ghana whilst we talk about it. It helps government in taking certain decisions which are key to the transformation agenda that we seek for. And again, it shaping the policy direction. And it tells that the good people of Ghana are interested in what is happening at the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service end. So it's a good call, and we do welcome some of these discussions within the media space, which guides us and give us the focus where we want to tilt the fortunes of education to. Again, government has not indicated to anybody that we are unable to sustain the free SHS in its current form. Government has not indicated that. Government has rather shown the commitment in ensuring that the pertinent problems within the space are dealt with once and for all whilst we move on. And mind you, the society evolves. And once society evolves, within the ideal sense, that is where you say we want this, but the practical aspect will give you what actually is within the space. And I think you will agree with me, since the implementation of the policy in 2017 up to date, government has been very firm, committed enough resources within the free SHS space to ensure that all well-meaning Ghanaians who do qualify for secondary education do have that opportunity to sit in the classroom, go through the 3-year program, and come out as an educated individual and have the opportunity to further.
Yes, but there's this question facing you as to whether or not you review the 5 cities, for instance, for feeding. It's woefully inadequate, you agree?
Well, it's a discussion that it's ongoing. Day in and day out, we do look at the situation about feeding within our schools. And even if you will find out from charts, every 2 weeks there is a meeting with the Minister for Education, the Directors of Education, both at GVET and the Ghana Education Service, and the buffer stock outfits and all relevant stakeholders who are consistently part of this meeting to look at the feeding situation. And yes, we had a couple of challenges within the space, especially when we're coming from the COVID era and looking at the economic situation all over the world. There are certain items that were greatly affected, but gradually we are getting out of it, and we are mapping out strategy to arrest all the difficulties that we had last year, so that it wouldn't even repeat itself again. And I know very soon there will be a conversation as to what goes into the feeding aspect, whether the increment that you are asking, or whether the increment that GNAT probably is asking, or whoever is asking, will be affected. But I wouldn't want to jump the gun. Definitely, authorities will engage Ghanaians on it, but clear direction as to where we are going will be made available to the good people of Ghana. I think we let's hold our horses. It's a conversation that we are looking at, and the commitment of government is to ensure that we do have a sustainable free SHS policy for every individual in this country, and that can never be compromised. And the commitment has been demonstrated day in and day out by authorities at the education.
Okay, well, the
question and I think is, we need to take.
Will the meeting happen?
I'm listening.
Yes, will the meeting happen between your side, GES, and the Ghana National Association of Teachers?
No, the Ghana National Association of Teachers are major stakeholders within, and if they are calling for a meeting on any day at any time, we are ready to meet them. They come without even knocking, and definitely the minister tells them his doors and windows are always open. Same as the Director General for Ghana Education Service. On any day when we deem it fit to meet around the table and discuss some of these things, we are ready to do it. We are urging them; they should come. We can sit around the table and look at the issues
All right.
and provide solution to it.
And I'm grateful for your time, Nana Opoku Mensah, who speaks for the Ghana Education Service. Doc, I'll just give you a minute to wrap up for us.
If we want to increase the feeding for the senior high school, so it definitely means that we're going to push more money into the system. But the money is technically not there because the source of funding the policy is depleting. And that's what I've demonstrated to you this afternoon. We have to start looking at other ways of getting additional funding source to support the ABFA. Thank you.
I'm grateful. Dr. Peter Anti with iFirst. Now,